Please watch this video carefully. If you do not solder well, connections will not be made properly and your circuit or product will not work. This is what a beginner soldering kit looks like. It contains a soldering iron, a stand, soldering wire or solder, desoldering wick, cutter and stripper. The soldering gun is extremely hot and should not be touched with bare hands at any point of time. Imagine, if it can melt metal, what could it do to your hands? Use extreme caution while handling the soldering gun. Store the gun in the stand after every use. Leaving it carelessly may cause fire and heavy damage. Use a well-ventilated room when soldering. Desoldering wick and sometimes soldered components get extremely hot. Please use caution while touching these. The soldering iron is used to solder the solder or stick components to the PCB, printed circuit board. The solder is the material melted on the soldering gun to glue the components on the board. Desoldering wick is used to desolder components or remove accidental solders. Cutter and stripper is used to cut and strip wires. Heat the soldering iron. Always hold it from the plastic end. When it is hot, you can feel or smell the heat when you get the gun close. You can also use the solder to check if the gun is hot by trying to melt it on the tip. Insert the component on the component side. Solder on the soldering side, where you see tracks and pads. In this video, we will show you how to solder a resistor. Insert the resistor in the slot marked on the component side. Turn the PCB to the soldering side. Hold the soldering wire at 45 degrees angle. Hold the gun close to the soldering pad. Now melt the metal at the tip of the iron. The solder will automatically stick to the pad, holding the component in place. A good solder looks like this. A bad solder looks like this. Clip off the extra metal leads sticking out after soldering with a cutter to avoid short circuit. Place the wick on the part to desolder and melt the solder off. Make it stick to the wick. Repeat the process if required until all the solder is gone. Remove the components slowly off the board. Once all the soldering is done, make sure the components do not move. There is no dry solder. We recommend you practice soldering before you build actual product.